All right, let's start and look at a couple of more things. Before we begin, it was interesting. If you go to the community, you can see the people who are on the team for React. It's interesting. They kind of remind me of you guys. If you look at them, I think out of 5 or 6 or 7, there's only one with a computer science degree. Everybody has a diverse background. One is from psychology, somebody from art. All the thing common is that they have a passion for programming. That's all it is. All right. So I think only one of them has a computer science. Somebody is a musician coming from psychology degree, arts, but these are the people who are working on React and making it better and actually creating React. It's kind of interesting. So if you go into community, you can look in the team and see the people who are actually working on React right now. And then React is also open source. So React is, I think, a year ago or more, it was the #1 starred GitHub repository on GitHub. Oh no, it was Visual Studio, I think. But GitHub is in like top 5 or top 3. The most starred open source libraries on GitHub. I think React was easy like the top 1 or something. Oh, top 3. Let's see if you can see it. Not trending. Mm, number 4. Oh, #1 is a free code camp now. That's cool. Vue.js. So you can look at the code that goes behind creating the React app also. It's on GitHub. Okay. All right. Let's get back to our lesson. We will look into including Bootstrap in our app. Okay. So any questions before we move on, creating some more components and packages? Any question about React? Okay. All right. So you can continue with the same one because it's going to take you a while if you try to create a new app. I am going to use the one that I already created. Again, it's still the same one, no changes. I haven't added any custom code or components. So let me go back here and cd into this directory. Make sure this is running and can start. Okay. All right. So this app is running. Same, no components, no nothing. So we'll go ahead and make some changes to it. Okay. So there are 2 ways you can include Bootstrap. I'll show you the Bootstrap way, and then I'll show you the second way as well. Okay. So this is our regular Bootstrap. All you need is a CDN link. So we'll copy the min file for Bootstrap CSS. Now, where would I include my link file? You guys remember that? Index, excellent. So public index HTML. Let's go ahead and include our Bootstrap file here. Okay. Now we can go back and create some components. So I'm going to follow the same practice. Let's go ahead. I'm going to create a folder. Components. Okay. We'll start with Jumbotron. I'll call it my Jumbo. Let's say hello Jumbotron. Okay. We'll create 3 files within hello Jumbotron. So it's going to be hello Jumbotron.js. Okay, I'm going to create a CSS file, even though I won't be using it, but I'll just create it. And then the last one would be our .test.js. Okay, let's go back to our um, functional component. Let's go ahead and create this component. So the first thing I need to import is the React module from React. Okay, let's go ahead and import our CS file, just dot slash CSS. Okay, next thing I need is my function definition. So I'll use the ES6 arrow function const. I'm going to call it hello jumbotron is equal to no arguments for now, arrow function, and parentheses return statement empty for now, and we will make sure this is exported. Export oops, default hello jumbotron. Okay, now let's go ahead and include our CSS from Bootstrap. All right, now this component is, so we'll go over here, look into find our, is it in components? Yeah, components. Let's look at our jumbotron. We'll just copy this code. Okay, this is HTML. All right, let's go ahead and paste it over here. Okay, now remember this code that we copied from Bootstrap, this is HTML and CSS. Okay, it's not JSX. And why? I mean, there are a few changes we'll have to do. For example, the class names. JSX does not have the keyword class. Instead, they call it class name. So we'll have to modify that. So let's go ahead and change this to class name. Okay. Class name. That's why it's not able to kind of make it fine for now. Okay. That's the first change. The second change is all of your JSX elements have to have a closing tag. Okay, what does this mean? Remember in HTML, this is my starting tag and this is my ending tag. So in JSX, every single element has to have a closing tag. Okay, for example, the HR, this is valid HTML. It doesn't require a closing tag, but when you are converting this into JSX, every single element needs to have a closing tag. That's why you will see it's kind of messed up. If you run this code, it's going to give you an error. Again, the reason is there's an HR tag. This is valid HTML, but not valid JSX. It's missing a closing tag. Okay. So you have the same two options. Either you can close it out over here or create a ending tag like this. Since this is just one, so we'll do the self-closing tag and close this out. Okay. Now it looks much better. Now it kind of formatted it correctly because now JSX knows that it has all the starting at the closing tag, starting, closing, starting, closing. This one also has a closing tag. This one also has a closing tag. Okay. So two things from this one. The one, number one, class name. Class does not work. It has to be class name. The second, more important, well, both of them are important. The second part is every single element has to have a closing tag. Okay. If you just copy this HTML over, it's not going to work because first of all, the class, and the second, this one doesn't have a closing tag. Okay. Any questions? Again, this is JSX, the custom React language. That's why you have to do this. Okay. Now, this is complete. There shouldn't be any more change. We'll go to our app component because that's our parent component. We are going to include our Jumbotron over here. I don't need all of this for now. So we will go ahead and import our component, import hello jumbotron. Okay, from dot slash components slash this slash JavaScript file. Okay, and then we will go ahead and again this is JSX as well. Okay, you are return all your function components use JSX are using JSX. All right. So now this is good. We should be able to see our web page with a jumbotron. Okay, so two things I did. The first thing was importing the CSS link into my public index HTML. The second was created the component Jumbotron and then copied the code over from Bootstrap, made some changes, made it to look like JSX. Okay, this is HTML CSS converted into JSX. The changes were class name and a closing tag, and we are able to use Bootstrap in our app. Okay. Any questions? Yes. Do you have a question? What is it? Okay. You can use every single thing. Yes. It will be inside each component. Yes. So these components, we'll take a look at it next time. Remember, the parent component is this one, right? And then you can have multiple components. And these components can in turn have further components. Okay, so these components are going to come themselves and embed into a different component. So you can have a hierarchy of components. For now, we just have one. We'll take a look at the second one. But these components in turn can have multiple components. We'll take a look at it next time. Okay. Any questions about Bootstrap? Or are you guys following along? Were you guys able to include Bootstrap? Okay. Now, as I said, when it comes to React, everybody has their React version. So there's a React version of Bootstrap as well. So if you Google React Bootstrap, okay, that's pretty cool. So they have React team has taken Bootstrap, it's open source, and they have created a React version of Bootstrap. Okay. So it's the same thing. The code is a little bit different, but all the components are there. You have your Jumbotron, your nav bars, everything is there. The documentation also looks the same, but it's from React. Okay, but you have to do a couple of things. We already have the link in our public HTML file, right? So you have to keep that. In order to use the React Bootstrap library, you have to do npm install React Bootstrap. Okay, that is the additional thing that you need to do. So I'm going to create a component within the same project. This one is using CDN Bootstrap. I'm going to create a one with a navbar, and that is going to use this one, React Bootstrap. Okay, either one, you can use this, use that, use both of them, it's fine. Okay, but as I said, they have created a Bootstrap version for React, and if you read the documentation, they're saying every thing that you can do with vanilla Bootstrap or Bootstrap CDN, you should be able to do with React Bootstrap as well. Okay, so let me give you an overview of this as well. The first thing you will have to do is install this npm package. So let's go ahead and do that first. So we will, let's go ahead and stop this. And I am going to npm install react-bootstrap. Okay, and then space bootstrap. Let's go ahead and see if this installs. Okay, so this is done. The second thing is there are two options. Either you can do this way as an import or as a link. And we have already done this, right? We already included the link, so there won't be any more changes required. Okay. Okay, so this link is in our HTML file, in my public HTML file, so we'll keep it over there. This is, if you go to index, you should have included this file. Okay, now so let's go ahead and create a new component, and then we'll see how to add those bootstrap parts over here. So let's create a nav bar. So I'll say hello nav bar. Okay, I'm going to create 3 files. Hello nav bar.js. Copy this name. .css, and then a test file. Close this out. Not this one, this one. .test.js. Okay, and let's open up our JS file and create our functional component. Import React from React. Okay. Import the CSS file, even though we are not using /CSS. Okay, create our functional component using the arrow function. So it's going to be const hello navbar is equal to no arguments for now. Okay. Let's complete our return statement. Come back and fill this, and then export. Oops. Export default hello. Okay. All right, so my component is created. So let's go back to our React Bootstrap documentation and find our nav bar and include that code. Oh, before that, if you scroll down, they're saying if you want to use a React component, Bootstrap component, how do we have to do? We have to import each one of them. Okay, you can import the whole Bootstrap library, but it is not recommended. Only import the components that you need. Okay, for example, if you need a button, import a button from React Bootstrap / and whatever you're trying to import. We'll follow this strategy. Okay, so if you look at our nav bar, let's go to components, let's find nav bar. And the good thing is that the names over here, whatever the names are, they are the same names when you try to import. So if I want to import the nav bar, it's going to be, if you go to the API over here, click on the navbar documentation, it's going to be import navbar from React Bootstrap navbar. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So since we are going to be using navbar code over here, I'm going to say import navbar, okay, from React Bootstrap, here it is. This will import the whole package. We don't want that. It's going to make your site a little bit slower, so we will only import what we need. We need navbar, this one. Okay. All right, so now let's go back to overview and copy. Let's use this one. Okay, so we're going to copy this. You will notice that this is React Bootstrap, so they have already written code that uses JSX. Okay, the class names and everything, they already have handled it, so we won't have to change any code over here if you're using this version of Bootstrap. Right, so let's simply copy paste here, and that's my navbar. Okay, no changes required, and this should give you a stock navbar in your code. Okay, there's going to be an error, and we'll come back and we'll see how to debug that. We'll see how to fix that error. But you see the class names are there. Don't have to worry about it. All of these are closing, so this is all good. Okay, as usual, there can be only one parent, so everything is inside the nav bar, so this code is going to work. Okay? All right, so let's go back to our app component. We have our Jumbotron, so we will import our navbar as well. So we'll say import hello navbar, that's what I called it, from my components slash navbar slash hello navbar. Okay, now how do I include this? I would just mention hello navbar. Okay, so this should load my Jumbotron and my navbar. Well, my navbar should be up, so let's switch it up. Okay. All right, let's go back to our page and see stop. So let's go ahead and do npm start. Oh, do you guys see this error? What do you think? What's the issue? There's no parent. You cannot have siblings. Remember, in your JSX, you cannot have side by there has to be one parent tag. Within that, you can have child tags. So this is saying that it find two parent tags, so you cannot do this. This is the error you're going to get if you are trying to do this. So what do we need to do to fix this? Wrap this up in a div tag or something like a parent tag. So we'll just use a simple div tag. Add this here. Complete. Okay, and this should fix it. Yes. Not today. Yeah. All right. What Ethan is pointing is there's a way you can have multiples, but it's a little bit more advanced. For now, I would say stick with this. Make sure this is how it is. Okay. They have kind of made changes in the later versions of React. We'll cover that much later on. Okay. So that error is gone, but we are still missing something. What does it say? Nav is not defined. Nav dropdown is not defined. Form is not defined in our hello nav bar. So let's go back to our hello nav bar. And navbar, I'm importing this, but I'm not importing nav. Let's see, what is nav? No import over here. Okay, so all of these are further components that are part of the React library, the React Bootstrap, and you need to import every single, make sure all of these are imported. All of these are further components, and these are all missing because we have not imported these components. Okay, that's what it is saying. So we will go back. Again, this is a good example that there's a nav bar, a bigger component, and within nav bar there are further components. So behind the scenes, it could be, if you had to put this into perspective, looks like there's an app, then there's a nav bar component in React Bootstrap, and then there is a nav component that is being used. Looks like there is a, what else is it? Nav dropdown component, and there is a form and button component as well. So there is a button and a form component. All of these are kind of defined like this. Okay, so we are only importing navbar, but we have not imported the child ones, the one that we are using. So we will have to do each one of them. Yeah. Or you can skip this and import the whole bootstrap, but that's going to make your page load a lot slower. Okay, so it's not that bad. You just have to write a few more lines. You will say import, I need nav, okay, from, you would say react bootstrap slash nav, okay, and this will fix the error. The nav goes away. Let's import nav dropdown. Oops. Import nav dropdown from React Bootstrap slash nav dropdown. Okay, nav dropdown error is gone. So now we are missing form and form control and buttons. So let's go ahead and import. Oops. Import form from React Bootstrap slash form. This should fix the form error. Let's go ahead and do the form control. Oops. Import form control. Form. What is form control? Is that what it is? Oh, from form control. Thank you. React Bootstrap slash form control. That's what I want. Last one is button. Why does it do that? Import button from React Bootstrap slash button. Okay. Now we go back. Hello navbar.css not found. Okay. Do I have a, what am I missing? Yes, thank you. Here we go. Okay. And there is my, oops. There is my navbar and my Jumbotron. Okay, navbar, I'm using the Bootstrap React package. My Jumbotron is from just using Bootstrap. Again, you have a choice. If you think this is too much, you can go back and start using Bootstrap as it is. This is what it identifies is you are going to only load modules or packages that you only require. Okay, again, it is the preferred way. You can import the whole library, but again, you will see it's already loading these many node modules. Okay, you don't want anything extra being loaded in your when your page loads. All right, so again, they already have a React Bootstrap library that they're using all the components. Okay, either you can use this one, then you don't have to worry about the syntax about JSX. Do I need to change anything? Everything is over here. Or you can go back using the Bootstrap. Just make sure the syntax is correct, all your closing tags are there, your class names are class name and not just classes. Okay, and you should be able to get a page like this. Okay, rows, columns, and everything. The second part was our app.js. Okay, you see this is how you would load multiple components. All right, make sure they are within a parent tag, and then you can load these components over here. This is, again, you can use Bootstrap here as well. You can put some container classes, container fluid, and all that stuff. This will work over here as well. Columns, rows, just like your HTML. Okay, if you look at this, this is just like a HTML tag, let's suppose, and you are loading this in your page. So now my page has two components. One is my header and one is my Jumbotron. Okay, any questions? Was everybody following, or do you guys need a few minutes to make sure that your Bootstrap, make sure both of them are working, and then later on you can make a pick and see which one do you want, which one do you like. Does everyone has both of them working? Bootstrap CDN and Bootstrap package. Which one? Okay, let's take a few minutes, make sure everybody has this working. Sarah, which one are you starting or import all of them? Okay. Um, yes, let's make sure import all of this and make sure that the page is loading. Later on, if you don't want to do this one, you can go back to using the Bootstrap or use this one. You have both choices. But I want to make sure both of them are working before we move on to our last part. Yes, Nicole? Oh, okay. Anyone else having problem? Not working? Everybody else has the Bootstrap component loaded and working? Hmm? I guess. Yes? For so little? For what? Bootstrap? Well, that's how Bootstrap is, right? Even if you go back to the vanilla Bootstrap or whatever, I mean, that's all the classes and everything. You change what? All what? The code? This is the same code for navbar. What's different than the Bootstrap? Oh yeah, but it's the same amount of code that you would need in your. Yeah. That's what I showed with the jumbotron, right? Huh? Yeah, that's what I showed with the jumbotron, right? I did the jumbotron with using what? Why is it what? Oh, because this is JSX. That's why. Right now, you can do it without JSX also. You don't need JSX, but that's a different. You have to change few things. If you look at the, I would recommend if you don't like JSX, they have a article over here where they are mentioning JSX. That this is your answer here as well. You can read, but it does not require. You can go back and change this. The only thing is you'll have to write a little bit more code for JSX to not work. So you'll have to do something. This is written in JSX. If you don't want JSX, you'll have to do something like this. I think it's even more complicated, but this is how you'll have to do if you don't want JSX. So you'll have to write each single like this and then do it. So I don't know. This one it looks even more complicated to me, but this is how you would do it without JSX. You'll have to use the functions create element, create them, um, and then assign it to the root. Hmm. But yeah, you can do it without JSX if you want. But looks like more code. I'm not going to do it without JSX. I don't know. To me, it's still looks like HTML-ish, so a little bit easier. But all of this code is coming from Bootstrap, so you can either use um, React Bootstrap or you can just use the Bootstrap one, and you can go to navbar and use it's the same code. Just make sure the class name is converted to class name, and all of them has a closing tag. That's all. But it's still the same code to get this thing. IDs? ID? Where's ID? Which line? Yeah, those are same. Yeah, those are still same. For now, yeah, that's the only one. Yes. If there's anything else, we'll talk about it. But that's the class name is changing. Everything else remains the same. Yeah. And this is written in JSX, so you can see that they did not change anything other than the class name. So it's still ID same, href is same. Yeah, those are same. Only the class name is changed. Yes. This is JSX code. Yes, that's all it is. Yeah. Right. Or just use React Bootstrap. Import these. Yeah. Again, it's preference. I would use this one again. Why? Because since we are doing React, it tells me that these are all components within that component. So it kind of gives me, okay, I know what is going on with React, right? React creates those components. So navbar is a bigger component, and within navbar there are individual components, and that's how I would be creating my app also, right? I'll have a app component, and within app I will have my individual components, and that's how it will be. So I can put my my CSS here, add some classes, href, just like they have done it over here. So preference. All right, anybody else having issues with Bootstrap? Everybody able to load it both ways, the CDN and the React Bootstrap? Later on, you can decide which one you want. Goose, it's not working? What error are you getting? So you have to include, huh? The what? Fails to compile, yeah, but what is it failing at? File name, what's the file name? Working? Hmm? Good. So Ethan is free. Anybody else? I'll walk over to Goose. Everybody else working both ways. That's why. Step it out first. All right. Anybody else? You pretty good. All right. Any other questions? Good. Ethan, are we good? Good. All right. One last thing in JSX, this is kind of going to look familiar with handlebars. Again, this is a function, this is a JavaScript file. You can have all the JavaScript code here as well. All right. For example, you can have variables, const, flex. For example, if I have a const here, name. Okay, this is totally valid in my Jumbotron JS file before the function. Okay, and I can use this constant in my JSX over here. And how do I use it? Single curly braces. For example, let's see, hello. I want to use a variable. It has to be in parentheses. Oh, curly braces. Okay, just like your handlebars thing, and then you can use your variable names. Okay, so if you go back to the page, it should have reloaded with the name over here. Okay, just like handlebars, this is how you can use it. You can have same thing, numbers. You can have let's say you can perform any JavaScript operations. Let's say change this to add numbers. Just make sure it has to be in curly braces. All your JavaScript code that goes in your curly braces. So for example, I'm going to say num1 plus num2, right? This is your JavaScript operation. So that's what you have to do. Now you go back over here. It does the calculation. Remember our math.random functions. You can do it that as well. Whatever related to JavaScript there is. So you can say h1. I'm going to do some JavaScript. So I'm going to put curly braces. You can say math.random. Okay, this will give you a random number. You can fix it, multiply it by 10. Again, operation still works. Oops. Okay. Remember the math.floor, we were using it to generate a random number. So we will say math.floor, convert this into this thing, still works. So random number, if every time you refresh this, a random number kind of shows up. Okay, so this is JSX. So if you want to use any JavaScript in your JSX code, it has to be surrounded by curly braces. Remember the kind of functionality with handlebars? That's the exact same. The same concept, the syntax is different. It's only one curly braces. Okay, so if you want to include any kind of JavaScript within your JSX code, you will have to wrap it around this thing. You can write any JavaScript code within this. Operations, right now it's a simple one, but remember our map functions, the functional loops for each, will be using a little bit more advanced techniques. We'll be using all that code inside your JSX. Okay, all of this is available. You can declare, you can perform, you can write more functions over here. Cons another function. Okay, you can declare more functions, call these functions over here. Same thing, just put the function name over here. This will call the function. Anything that you can do in JavaScript is valid over here. Right now it doesn't do anything. We'll take a look at it. But this is what JSX is. Okay, again, React says that JSX is more closer to JavaScript than HTML, but I don't know, looks to me it always looks like HTML. Okay, but this is what I wanted to show you guys, that within JSX you can write any JavaScript you want. Yeah, no, that's how it works. Yeah, it is good and apparently, and actually not even good practice, that is the only way. Remember with the handlebar, what was the issue? That if something changed, right, I would not be, you would have to reload the whole thing and this would be updated. That's where you will see React comes into play. Anything that is updated, this will keep updating itself. That's how you do it. Yes, this is actually the only way to include JavaScript in your JSX code. So every time your function, your component loads, this is going to be read dynamic. So if you change this thing in your during the code, this is going to get updated. We'll see how that all that happens. But at a high level, this is how JSX. Any JavaScript code you can put it. The only thing you need to remember is it has to be inside these two curly braces. It's not going to work if it's not inside this curly braces. Okay, any questions? So just to recap, we started with creating a React app. Then we looked at before that, we looked at some of the concepts of React, components, virtual DOM. We looked at JSX. Then we created the React app using npx create React app tool. Okay. Then we looked at what these folder structure means. What is index.js? What is index.html? And then what is app.js? What is the relationship between these two? Okay, app.js is also a component basically. And then we saw how do we create our own custom components and how do they come and embed themselves inside your main component. Okay, so we have from the documentation, we have covered the first three things that I had mentioned. Wrong documentation. So we covered the getting started part. We have covered the main concept, the first two, hello world, JSX, and rendering elements. Okay. Next time we'll be literally we are going through the whole list. So we will be looking at components and props, states and lifecycle. These are, again, this is a gentle introduction to React. It's not even basic introduction. These things over here that you see, components and state, this is part of learning React, part of basic React. Okay. Your web page doesn't, it does it, but it doesn't really, it's not dynamic. So we'll have to understand all of these so that we can make it more dynamic. Okay, but that's not for today. We'll do it next time. Any questions on the concepts that we have covered? You guys still like React or not? Not that you have a choice, but okay. What is it? It what? Angular? Okay, yeah. You'll be in a lonely world if you're using Angular, but yeah. There's Angular. There's Vue also. Vue is good too. Okay, so there's no class. I'm going to finish this early. I don't want to keep you guys. There are activities. I'll post it if you guys want to stay, do these activities. They cover everything that we have covered. It's up to you guys, but you guys followed along. So as long as the app is working, it should be good. Okay, so there's no class for 2 weeks. Please make good use of it. No, don't do that, please. It kind of worries me. You come back, what? React? What? Components? I don't know what you are talking. Can we do that again? No, we are not going to do that again. Okay? So, make some time. Make good if you want to catch up with something, JavaScript, make sure you are updating your knowledge. If you are already familiar, read the documentation, learn more React before we come. The next class would be on January 4th, Saturday. Homework due as well. Okay. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. I'll see you guys 2 weeks later. Have a safe holiday. All right.